Hey, picture this wild nightmare. They thought setting my house on fire would force me to join their silly neighborhood group. What they didn't know is that I actually helped make the town fire rules they just broke. I'm Marcus, and I'm standing in what used to be my kitchen, holding the law book that sent my group boss to big jail for 8 years. 6 months ago, this was my family's dream home where my kids fed chickens every morning. Today, it's a bunch of ashes and the key proof that showed, a sneaky multi-million-dollar trick plot. The sharp smell of wet, burnt wood sticks to my clothes like a ghost of the life they tried to take. I'm drinking coffee from a hot holder because, well, hard to make any when your kitchen is a big hole. But here's what Brenda Kensington didn't. Plan on. When you try to burn down a rule checker's house, you better not leave clues behind. Spoiler alert, she left everything. Government raids, handcuffs, the whole fair meal. What would you do if your neighbors really tried to burn you out? Drop it in the comments and tell me where you're watching from. I want to see how worldwide this group nightmare really is. My name is Marcus Thorne, and for 25 years I've been the guy who shows up when your neighbor builds a deck without okays or runs a bad lab in their garage. Town rule checker. Basically, I'm the rule book police. My wife, Elena, is a high school boss, and we have teen twins, Dakota and River, who think I'm the most boring dad on the planet. Until this tale, they were probably right. Our house sat on 2 acres of what used to be farmland, got from my grandpa, who grew corn and dreams. Back in the 1940s, the spot was okayed in when the housing bunch grew around us like mushrooms after rain. While our neighbors got small lots and group rules, we kept our around porch, veggie garden, workshop, and yes, a small bunch of chickens that gave fresh eggs and endless fun for the kids. Every morning I'd sit on that porch with my coffee, listening to roosters call and watching Elena care for her plant garden. The smell of green leaves and spice mixed with the dirt scent of turned ground. Dakota and River would toss feed before school, their laughs bouncing off the workshop walls where I fixed old chairs on weekends. It was calm. It was ours. And clearly it was driving someone totally crazy. Enter Brenda Kensington. Picture every group boss type. Then add big wants and a house sell okay. Shiny light hair that never moved in wind. White fancy car that never had a bit of dirt. And stretch pants that cost more than most folks' monthly home pay. She'd moved from far west 6 months earlier, expecting her money spot to be guarded by what she called area rules. Our spot with its chickens and veggie rows and workshop mess wasn't exactly matching the perfect pick vision she'd paid high prices to join. Her first visit came with homemade sweets and a warm smile. "Welcome to the area," she said, even though we'd lived there 15 years longer than she had. "I brought a group join paper, just a normal to get you linked with our great community." I thanked her for the sweets and nicely explained that our spot came before the group by 3 decades. We weren't needed to join, and frankly, we liked our free. Her smile flickered like a dying light. Week 3 brought an official letter about community rules and house value guard. Week 6 upped to nameless gripes filed with the city about our farm doings in a home zone. That's when things got fun. See, when you've spent 25 years learning town rules, you tend to know them pretty well. I pulled out my copy, the same thick book that would later help blame her, and marked section 12.3.7, farm okay clauses for spots before home zoning. Our chickens were okay. Our garden was okay. Our workshop was okay. Everything was okay because I'd literally helped write the rules that guarded spots exactly like ours. But Brenda wasn't the type to let law details stop her. The gripes kept coming. 17 separate breaks reported in 1 week. Wrong chickens, no okay buildings, business veggie work, noise messes. I'd get to work to find stacks of paperwork, all with Brenda's exact writing and our address. My boss, a longtime pal, pulled me aside. "Marcus, what the heck is going on with your neighbor?" That evening, I found something that changed everything. While checking the gripe forms, I noticed Brenda had listed our spot as a business farm, work in several reports. Not only was this totally false, but filing false town reports is a Class C wrong with a $500 fine per mess. Here's your first no nugget. False telling of rule breaks is a crime in most places. Always read gripe forms. Careful. One lie can turn bug into crime charges. Elena found me at the kitchen table that night, around by paperwork and rule books. "What are you thinking?" she asked, setting down fresh coffee that smelled like save. "I'm thinking," I said, "that our new neighbor just made her first big mistake." Brenda's next move was what I call the rule blitz, a plan I'd seen bullies use before, but never this step by step. If one gripe didn't work, maybe 17 would do the trick. Monday, wrong chicken house breaking setback needs. Tuesday, no okay workshop ad making fire dangers. Wednesday, business veggie work without business okay. By Friday, my desk looked like a paper slide had buried it alive. But here's the thing about being a rule checker for 25 years. You develop a nose for that could smell lies through strong. Every single gripe used same words, sent at exactly 8:47 a.m., and had details only seen from our spot line. Someone was making this their full-time job. The kicker, Brenda had started setting wellness walks past our house with other group wives. Picture 5 women in matching play clothes, holding phones like weapons, whispering behind painted hands while photoing our chicken house like it was proof of war bad. The constant click of phone cameras became the sound to our mornings, mixing with the puzzled clucks of chickens who'd suddenly become online famous. "This is getting silly," Elena said, watching the parade from our kitchen window. "What's next? Airwatch?" She wasn't wrong to worry, but I was about to turn the tables. I decided to dig deeper into these gripes, and that's when I found Brenda's first major mistake. On 3 separate break reports, she'd listed our spot as a business farm work, not a home spot with okayed farm rights, a full business farm needing business okays, health spot checks, and business zone okays. Now, I'd seen this trick before in my job. Worried gripers would big up spot tells, hoping to start different rule checks. What they didn't get is that wrong grouping spot kinds on official town reports is actually filing false tools. A wrong, with fines up to $500 per mess. I'd personally court 3 cases like this, and the bad folks always looked shocked when the cuffs came out. Time for my first fight back hit. I filed a formal gripe against Brenda with the city lawyer's office, noting every false word and asking check into bug ways. Then I sat back and waited for the show. The city sent their newest checker, a kid fresh from college who'd probably never seen a real chicken house outside online. I met him at the spot line with my rule book, original 1963 build okays, and the measurer's map from 1940 that showed our lot borders. "Let's start with the chickens," I said, flipping to the right part. Town Rule 12.3.7. Specially guards farm uses before home zoning. Our house was built in 1963. The home zoning wasn't made until 1987. The kid's noteboard practically sagged under the weight of Brenda's gripes. We walked the spot step by step, chickens okay, workshop okayed and checked, veggie garden clearly. Personal use size. Every single break got marked no base with notes about bug ways. The sound of measure tape zipping across garden beds mixed with happy clucks from cleared chickens. Even they seemed to know fair was being given. 24 hours later, the city posted a no breaks found notice on our front gate, a bright yellow light seen from Brenda's living room window. That's when I saw my first Brenda melt. I was checking the mail when she stormed across the street, her stretch pants practically smoking from the speed of her cum. "This is silly," she shouted loud enough for 3 neighbors to peek out their windows. "That checker clearly doesn't know what he's doing." "Ma'am," the new checker called out from his truck, "this guy knows town rules better than most lawyers. Everything on this spot is totally okay." Brenda's face went through several shades of red before settling on a color I'd never seen in nature. "This isn't over, Marcus," she hissed, jabbing her finger toward our house. "There's more than one way to solve a spot problem." The threat hung in the air like smoke from a grease fire, and I felt something shift in my chest. This wasn't about chickens anymore. That evening, Elena noticed something that made my checker feelings start twitching. Have you seen how many people are walking past our house lately? She asked, pulling the covers closed. That's the 5th car this hour that slowed down at our driveway. She was right. Our quiet, dead-end street suddenly had more footwalk than a shop center. Strangers, with phones, unknown cars driving past, covers twitching across the street like nervous eyes. But the real game-changer came when I decided to check our group bosses past. What I found made my blood run cold. Brenda Kensington held house sell OKs in 3 places: Far West, Dry Spot, and now Hot Spot. More fun, Away showed in her past areas. Holdout spots that said no to group join had got mystery problems. A house fire in Hot Bird Town, a surprise flood in Cactus Town, 3-spot blames in Beach Town. All finally sold to builders at below normal prices. All bought by fake companies with one common thread: Brenda Kensington as the list agent. "Elena," I said that night, spreading spot move records across our kitchen table like a checker building. A kill case. I don't think we're dealing with a pushy neighbor anymore. I think we're dealing with a pro. If Brenda was a pro, she was about to show me her playbook. And honestly, it was more smart than I'd given her credit for. Her next plan was what crisis care experts call social alone. Turn the community against the target until they have no choice but to give up. Within 48 hours of my gripe being filed, she'd set something called the Area Safe Committee, with official-looking paper heads and all. The flyers started showing on car windows Tuesday morning. Worried about uncontrolled farm chemicals near our kids? Join us in guarding family spots, complete with stock pics of smiling kids and a list of health worries that would make you think our chicken house was bad spot. But online, that's where Brenda really showed her skill. The worried parents of Spot Group Online gained 87 members overnight. Posts showed hourly. Pics of our messy workshop labeled as possible fire danger. Close-ups of our dirt pile described as rat pull. And my personal fave, a pic of our rain holder captioned standing water-growing bugs and sickness. Elena found the group when other teachers started asking awkward questions. "Is it true your hubby runs some kind of no-okay farm work?" her work pal whispered during lunch watch. "I saw the pics online. The social push plan went to our kids." Dakota came home from school quiet, picking at her dinner. "What's wrong, sweetie?" Elena asked. "Nobody wanted to sit with me at lunch today," Dakota mumbled. "Sarah's mom told her our house might be making people sick." River, normally our social flyer, mentioned that his pal Tyler couldn't come over anymore. His parents said something about unsafe spot and blame issues, he explained, confusion clear in his voice. The sound of quiet at our previously friendly bus stop was loud. Empty seats around our kids at lunch. Parent talks that stopped when Elena walked into school events. The smell of alone was stronger than any barn odor Brenda claimed to be worried about. But I'd been noting bug pushes for 2 decades, and I knew something Brenda didn't. Bullies always get messy when they think they're winning. Time for fight back number 2. I spent my lunch breaks checking Brenda's own spots through town files, a skill I grew after years of tracking down bad owners and rule breakers. What I found was pure gold. Brenda owned 3 rent spots in our city through a group called Premier Spot Fixes. I'd actually written several of the check ways she was about to get very familiar with. Matching break pasts, I found something nice. 3 active rule breaks on her double rent at 847 Tree Street. No OK bath ad from 2019. Old wire panel making fire dangers. Blocked fire out due to wrong storage place. All breaks I'd personally marked for follow that somehow never got fixed. In my past, spot managers who ignore safe breaks tend to get very pushed when their own blame gets showed. I filed fresh gripes using Brenda's own past words almost word for word because I have that kind of funny sense. The city checker came at Brenda's double on a Thursday morning. I wasn't there, of course, but public records tell a nice tale. Breaks confirmed. Fines totaling $2,400, must fixes within 30 days, or face renter move help needs. Her renters got notices the same afternoon. Friday evening, I was loading food when Brenda faced me in the big store parking lot. 3Cs, including Mrs. Henderson from our street, watched as our group boss totally lost her calm. "You think, you're so smart with your little rule book," she snarled, her voice carrying across rows of shop carts. "Some problems can't be solved with paperwork, Marcus. Some problems need more smart fixes." The squeaky shop cart wheels and bright lights buzz made an oddly outside town sound to what felt like a bad group movie threat. Other shoppers backed away like we were bad glow. "Are you threatening me, ma'am?" I asked, calm, making sure my voice carried to our crowd. "I'm just saying," she replied. "Accidents happen, house fires, gas leaks. Cover companies pay out all the time." Mrs. Henderson's gasp was heard from 20 feet away. That night, Elena and I sat on our back porch watching the sunset paint our veggie garden golden. The piece felt breakable now, like something pretty that someone was planning to smash. "The community is split," Elena saw. "Half the area thinks we're dangerous nuts and half thinks Brenda's lost her mind." She was right. The group members had broken into camps. Team Brenda, recent movers and money spot owners. Team Marcus, long-term folks and families, and the middles, mostly old folks trying to avoid fight. But something else was happening that made my checker feelings scream warns. I'd started getting nameless calls at work, someone asking about my check time, my usual ways home when I usually checked spots. The caller always hung up before I could track the number. Then Dakota mentioned something that made my blood freeze. "Dad, some guy in a pickup truck asked me yesterday if you were home. He said he was a delivery driver, but he didn't have any packages." That's when I got this had moved beyond area fight into something much more risky. And I started watching. Our guard camera's a lot more careful. Brenda's next move proved she wasn't just mean, she was playing smart. If social push wouldn't work, she'd attack my job straight. Monday morning, my boss Dave called me into his office with the look of a man giving bad health news. "Marcus, I need to talk to you about a formal gripe filed against you. The blames were exact, pro, and crushing. Misuse of spot, using city stuff for personal fights, scaring folks through picky rule use." Brenda had given proof time marks showing my spot check. During work hours, copies of my gripes against her. Even see notes claiming I'd threatened her with rule payback. "You know this is junk?" Dave said, sliding the paperwork across his desk. "But inside checks has to look. I'm sorry, Marcus, but I have to move you pending review." The bright meat room lights buzzed like mad bugs during my 3-hour talk. Coffee grew cold while a note-taker's pen scratched across paper, noting every question about my pro ways. 25 years of clean service cut to time marks, and she said blames. Temp move to cut look of wrong meant I'd be moving papers in the basement, while Brenda painted me as a bad official. The funny tasted bitter as burnt coffee. But I'd learned something during my years chasing down trick cases. Worried folks make bigger mistakes. Time for my third fight back hit. I filed a free info act to ask for all city talks about my spot. Every email, phone call, meet note, and gripe. What came back was a master class in teamed bug. Brenda hadn't just contacted my part. She'd reached out to the city lawyer, mayor's office, planning group, and health part. Same words every time, like she was reading from a call seller's book. More key, this way matched exactly what I found in public records from her past cities. The lady had turned bug into a science. Elena started photoing every by-chance meet. Brenda running past our house 5 times daily. Unknown cars slowing at our driveway, neighbors who suddenly needed to walk their dogs right by our fence. We told the twins to tape any adult who came with questions about our family. I set a full guard system. Every camera and feeler okay as spot owner watch. The red blinking of move finders mixed with the digital buzz of taping tools, turning our calm home into something that felt like a fort. The mind push was working exactly as Brenda wanted. Sleep came in bits between checking camera feeds. Elena jumped at surprise noises. The kids asked why we couldn't just be normal neighbors like everyone else. Then came the emergency group board meet. Our neighbor Terry Wilson, one of the fence sitters trying to avoid sides, knocked on our door Thursday evening with info that made my tummy drop. "They're calling for a vote tomorrow night," he said, shifting nervous on our porch. Something about hiring a spot care company to deal with community threats. Brenda's got 3 new board folks who moved in last month, and she's pushing for emergency pay power. Meaning, they wanted to hire pro-scare services with law cover. I'd seen this in other cities. Companies that knew making holdout spots get problems until owners sold below normal value. 3 longtime board folks had already quit rather than join in what one called legal force. Friday brought a new up that crossed every line. At 9:47 p.m., police came at our house answering a home fight call. We were having dinner on our back porch, hardly the stuff of bad fight. The answering officer, someone I'd worked with for years, looked embarrassed. "Marcus, this is the 3rd false emergency call this month," Officer Rodriguez said, checking. "Our clearly calm home. Someone's playing games with emergency call." I knew from my check training that filing false emergency reports is a big crime carrying up to 2 years in jail, but proving who made nameless calls to emergency would need phone records and checks beyond my current power. My proof file had grown to fill a whole holder. False reports, bug timelines, money check on Brenda, way check from other cities. Elena found me there one night setting docs like I was prepping for war. "You're building a case like you're expecting court," she saw. "Because I think that's exactly where this is heading," I replied, holding up spot move records that showed the real size of Brenda's work. Then Sunday morning brought the up that turned bug into try-kill. I found our chickens dead in their house, their water dirty with cool stuff. The sharp chemical smell burned my nose as I knelt beside birds that had been our family's daily joy. Dakota's tears mixed with my mad as we buried justice, liberty, and hope, names the kids had chosen that now seemed telling. The animal doc report confirmed cool stuff poison. Guard video showed a figure in dark clothes entering our spot at 37 a.m. Too blurry for name, but clearly on purpose. But the real step forward came when I found the wreck wasn't random teen bad. Our workshop door had been spray-painted with MOVE in red letters. Guard video caught the doer, a teen boy from a group family. When I tracked down the kid through car, plate numbers, his cry confession showed something that changed everything. A area lady had paid him $200 to poison the chickens and spray paint our building. The boy didn't know her name, but his tell was no mistake. Shiny light hair, white fancy car, stretch pants, uniform. Instead of pressing charges against a young being used as a piece, I noted the pay source and added it to my growing case file. The real target wasn't a puzzled teen, it was the adult running a crime plot. "Elena," I said that night, spreading bank records and time charts across our kitchen table. "We're not dealing with neighbor bug anymore. We're dealing with organized crime. 3:00 a.m. is when the best checker work happens. When your brain is tired enough to see ways it normally misses and worried enough to dig through files most folks ignore." I was bent over my home office computer, around by empty coffee cups and marked docs, when Elena walked in, wearing her bath clothes and worried look. "Still hunting for your key proof?" she asked, setting down fresh coffee that smelled like save. "More like hunting for the string puller," I muttered, clicking through town deal files I'd got through my city sign-in, because nothing about this feels random anymore. That's when I found it. Buried in file holders most folks never knew were. The original group start docs from 2018 had a part I'd never seen before. Emergency spot get way. The words were thick law talk that basically meant one scary idea. The group board could force the sale of any spot seen as a community threat through town team deals. Elena read over my shoulder, her school boss training helping her decode office words. "Emergency force take," she whispered. "Can they really do that?" I was already matching signs on the start papers. Town council member Patricia Webb had signed off on the group's law setup, the same Patricia Webb who now chaired our zone fight. Board and voted on forced take cases. Webb's past made my checker feelings start screaming. Former business pal with Brenda in Far West, current spot controlling spot get fights. And here's the catch. She'd never said this tie as a clash of interest. Elena, look at this, I said, pulling up spot move records. Like group setups in Hot Bird Town, Cactus Town, Beach Town, all places where Brenda worked before. Same law frame, same getaways, same mystery spot problems. The way was amazing in its size. Target no-fit spots, make community messes, force. Buyouts through emergency steps that skipped normal fights. The spots were then resold to builders at 300% up through fake companies. Elena's check skills proved super helpful here. Using school area files she had entry to, she started tracking spot moves across state lines. What came was a business way hidden as community do. "Marcus, look at these numbers," she said, marking move amounts on her laptop. 7 spots across, 3 cities, all following the same timeline. They've made a guessed $2.1 million over 5 years. But the key proof came when I found recent changes to our city's fire check ways. New rules needed spots with farm parts to go through every 3-month checks rules written by Councilwoman Webb and made exactly 60 days ago, 1 month before Brenda's first gripe against us. The time was sharp in its care. Spot tax records showed. Brenda's fake company, Spot Build LLC, made 3 months ago with the said purpose of HomeSpot getting better. Money back traced to a nameless money fund that led back to her Far West pals. Target spots, my home, and 2 other no-group parcels worth a combined $1.8 million. "Elena," I said, leaning back in my chair as the full size hit me like a body punch. "They're not trying to get me to join the group. They're trying to steal my spot. The bug, the false reports, the social push, none of it was about community rules or spot values. It was about making reason for forced, get-through law holes they'd spent years making perfect." "So, what do we do now?" Elena asked, her voice steady, despite the big of what we'd found. "We used the law exactly the way it was meant to be used," I said, reaching for my phone. "Time to call in some helps and build a case that will make government court folks very, very happy." The hunter was about to become the hunted. And unlike Brenda, I actually knew how to follow the rules. Time to gather my team. And lucky for me, 25 years in town check had earned me some very useful pals. First call went to Jake Morrison, my old school room pal, who'd become a check teller for the area paper. I'd given him tips on town bad cases for years. This time, I needed him to return the help. "Marcus, it's 3:30 in the morning." Jake's sleepy voice came through the phone. "Jake, remember that help you owe me from the town council bribe tale?" Time to collect. "How'd you like to show a multi-place spot trick plot?" Suddenly, he sounded wide awake. "I'll be there in an hour." Second call. Carmen Rodriguez, Elena's law school pal who'd built a job fighting spot rights breaks. She knew taking on big companies that bullied homeowners. This case was right in her spot. "Pro case with nationwide meanings for group overdue," Carmen said after I explained the situation. "Marcus, you had me at government plot charges." Third call, Tom Morgan, a money checker whose old parents I'd helped with rule follow issues last year. Tom could track cash through fake companies like a hunt dog following smells. "Someone tried to steal your house through law trick." Tom's voice carried the mad of someone who took money crimes personal. "Oh, we're gonna nail these folks to the wall." By dawn, my workshop had been changed into a fight room that would make government task teams jealous. Note boards covered every wall linked with colored string mapping ties between players. Money flow charts tracked cash moves across state lines. Time boards showed the grow from bug to try-fire. The smell of fresh coffee mixed with the rustle of dock pages and the scratch of markers on white boards as we built our case. Carmen spread law examples across my workbench like a leader planning attack plan. "Home plot needs 3 parts," she explained, marking key law cases. "Agree between sides, open acts to push the plot, and resulting hurts. We have taped talks proving agree, noted bug as open acts, and spot value drop plus feeling stress for hurts." Tom's laptop buzzed as he tracked money ties through public records. The Company Clear Act laws most folks ignored needed fake companies to file owner reports. What Tom found made us all whistle in like, $4.2 million money fund, he said, pulling up. Start docs. 7 quiet partners, all with addresses in far west. And here's the nice part, 2 of them have passed trick checks in government files. Jake outlined his news plan while photoing our proof boards. I'm calling this series The Group Hustle. How neighbors become hunters. Local tale with nationwide mean. Group abuse hits 73 million Americans. We match publish with your law filings. For max hit. I'd upgraded our guard system with pro-grade tools, taking good of Hotspot's one-side yes laws for taping talks. Anyone who stepped foot on our spot was now being noted in high clear with backup online save. As I'd learned from years of building law cases, good noting beats good lawyers every time. Elena said a worried parent's coffee meet said to talk school-safe issues. Her real purpose was finding group members uncomfortable with Brenda's more hard ways. 3 families quietly gave inside group talks that showed breaks in Brenda's back base. The news gold mine, an emergency board meet set for Friday where Brenda planned to force a vote on spot get steps. Our proof pack grew into 3 clear attack ways. Crime send to the area lawyer for wire trick, plot, and filing false reports. Home complaint for plot to mess with spot rights and on purpose causing feeling hurt. Good complaint against Councilwoman Webb for hidden clashes of interest. Carmen matched our time with Army Care. T-3 days, we file the good complaint. Forces Webb to step off from any spot votes. T-2 days, home suit makes public record and starts news interest. T-1 day, crime send-ups to law force matter. T-day, Jake's Tale publishes and makes max public push. But we needed inside entry to Friday's emergency group meet. That's where our neighbor Terry Wilson, still trying to stay middle, proved. Super helpful. Group meets were tech public under state law, and Terry agreed to go with his phone streaming live video. If they vote for Spot Get, I explained to the team, we'll have real-time proof of plot in action. We prepped backup plans for every what if. If the law plan failed, news show would still wreck Brenda's business way. If they sped their time, we had emergency stop papers ready to file. If they tried targeting team members Tom had already linked, with government cross-state trick part. Personal preps felt like prepping for Hold War. Elena took leave from school. The twins went to stay with grandparents. I set temp guard for Elena's workplace and made a law guard fund from our savings. The final piece fell into place when Carmen found example from a like case in Dry Spot. Thorne versus Kensington is going to become case law, she said with good. Win or lose, this fight changes how groups work nationwide. Friday morning came, gray and cold, matching my mood perfect. Elena found me checking tools one last time. Ready for war? She asked. I looked at our proof, our team, our law bullet safe plan. Then I smiled. Elena, I've been ready for this fight my whole job. Time to show these folks what happens when you pick on someone who actually knows the rules. If I thought Brenda was worried before, I was about to learn what real worry looked like. And honestly, it was scary and it's smart. Tuesday morning brought news that made my blood run cold. Brenda's home had been broken into overnight. A break-in so handy it practically had a bright sign reading fake flag work. By her police report, the thieves had stolen member files, money records, and her computer hard part. Nothing valuable like jewels or tech, mind you. Just the exact docs that would hold proof of her bug push. But here's where Brenda showed her newbie hour. She filed a cover claim the same day, listing items that were never mentioned to police. I'd seen this exact way in Hotbird Town and Cactus Town make a mess, wreck proof, and paint the target as an extreme threat. The answering checker, a sharp lady named Lisa Park, seemed doubtful from the start. Ma'am, this doesn't look like a real break-in, she told Brenda during questions. Nothing valuable taken, no signs of forced in, and your guard. System was mystery not working. When Checker Park talked to me about my doubtful due, I had a iron-tight not there. Family dinner at Elena's parents', complete with Eat Spot Gets and Guard video showing me 20 miles away during the supposed break-in. Jake's news links at the cover company confirmed what I thought. Brenda had upped her cover by 400% just 2 weeks earlier. The same way had showed in her past cities before accidents started happening to holdout spots. Filing fake cover claims is a big crime that ups wrong bug into serious government area. Brenda had just handed us another rope for her law hanging. Her next move was pure show, an emergency community safe meet in the group clubhouse. 40-plus folks showed up along with a police link and town council watcher. The smell of fear and costly scent mixed with the fake sweet smell of those plug in air fresh that make everything smell like a big store. Brenda's slideshow was Master Fake Pro slides about spot value guard and community rules, complete with carefully changed pics of our spot that made our workshop look like a bad lab and our chicken house seem like a sickness grow spot. "We're not here to chase anyone," she said with practiced reel. "We're here to guard our kids and our money from neighbors who refuse to follow basic community guides." But I'd come ready. I came with Carmen, who said herself as family lawyer in a voice that could cut glass. My words were calm, fact, and crushing. A timeline of bug backed by notes that made several folks gasp loud. Pics of poisoned chickens, copies of false police reports, money records showing Brenda's fake companies, spot checks showing her way across many states. Ladies and guys, I ended. This isn't about community rules. This is about organized trick hidden as neighbor care. The crowd reaction was everything I'd hoped for. Shocked whispers rippled through the crowd. Several long-time folks came after to, "Sorry, Private, for believing Brenda's tale," but the real payback came in the parking lot. Brenda faced me beside my truck, her calm finally cracking in front of 6 C's, including Terry Wilson, with his phone taping. "You think you're so smart?" she snarled, her voice carrying across the black top. "Sometimes old houses just have accidents. Wire fires, gas leaks, cover companies pay out all the time." The words hung in the night air like bad smoke. 6 folks heard her make a special threat to my spot. Terry's phone caught every word in high, clear sound. In my 25 years of law force training, I'd learned that threats to spot combined with past bug ways make crime plot, especially when the threat maker had a noted past of spot's mystery getting problems. Wednesday morning brought official up that proved our government plot idea. I got an official letter from the city planning office. Early check for emergency spot get steps. Signed, Councilwoman Patricia Webb. Timeline, 72 hours for spot owner answer. Meaning, the law frame for forced sale had been started. Webb's join was the key proof we needed. Her hidden business tie with Brenda, combined with official misuse of forced take steps, broke many government rules about public bad. Carmen right away filed for emergency stop while Tom tracked the cash path showing straight money good to Webb through the get process. The money check showed a payback plan that made my town check training feel like kid school. But Thursday brought the find that made me get we were running out of time. Tom's money check showed something that made my hands shake. Brenda had upped fire cover on nearby spots by 400% in the past month. Her reason worried about possible fire spread from farm spot. She wasn't just planning to force us out through law steps. She was expecting or planning a fire at our house. The cover paperwork was dated 1 week before her first bug gripe. The lady had been planning fire from day one. New guard video confirmed our worst fears. The same rent truck had circled our spot at 2 a.m. for 3 nights in a row. Car plate. Tracked to a company paid for with cash using fake name. 2 men with measure tools and cameras had been mapping our spot, not for check, but for work planning. Elena's find at school made everything click into scary focus. Fix reports mentioned. Chemical smell gripes from school buses passing our street. Timeline matched perfect with truck fuel odors, strong near storm drains around our spot. Someone had been placing fire speeders around our area for weeks. Friday evening, I found fuel-soaked cloths in the storm drain 50 feet from our house. Smart placed near our natural gas measure and wire join box. Pro-fire set made to look like a mistake wire fire. I called Carmen with hands that barely worked. We're out of time. They're gonna burn time for the most risky chess move of my life, letting them think they'd won while noting their crimes in real time. I got Elena and the twins out to her sister's house under the cover tale of a love weekend trip. Online posts showed happy family pics from 30 miles away. While I prepped for what might be the longest night of my job, Jake and I set our watch. Spot in the left barn across the stream, close enough to catch all, far enough to stay safe if things went side. Our tools looked like something from a spy movie. Night sea cameras, straight lines to fire part send, and backup power systems in case they cut our power. The waiting was hard. Every sound made my pulse jump, wind through trees, far cars, the creak of old wood settling, the smell of October night air mixed with truck fuel fumes still hanging from their prep work. 2:17 a.m. brought the rent truck we'd been tracking for weeks. Two men in dark clothes came out like shadows, moving with the practiced quick of pros. They parked 2 blocks away and came to our spot on foot, carrying gas cans and what looked like time tools. My hands shook as I fixed camera sides to catch faces clear. These weren't local kids hired for wreck. This was fire for hire, probably costing Brenda $10,000 least. The fire speeder placement was yucky pro. Base corners first, then workshop walls. Finally, the area around our wire measure and gas line. Time tools suggested they wanted the fire to start after dawn when neighbors would think we were inside sleeping. 47 minutes from come to leave, long enough to make sure full wreck, short enough to avoid find. My hold nearly broke watching them. Pour on the workshop, where I'd built Dakota's treehouse and fixed Elena's grandma's rocking chair. But early step would only get me grabbed while letting the real bad escape. 3:15 a.m. I called the fire part with a doubtful chemical smell report. Answer time was 8 minutes fast enough to stop-start, slow enough that the fire setters were gone. Fire boss Rodriguez, who'd worked with me on past checks, took one look at the setup and whistled low. Marcus. This would have looked like a wire. Fire, but burned hot enough to be totally wrecking, he said. Photoing time tools and fire speeder ways. Pro job. Someone paid serious cash for this. The two doers made their deadly mistake at the all-night eatery 4 miles away. Guard cameras caught them cheering with cash pays and talking their next job. When state police grabbed them based on our car plate info, they had fake names. $5,000. Each inline bills and throw phones with only one contact. The contact tracked straight to Brenda's money account. Charges included plot to do fire, try wreck of spot, and crossing state lines to do big crimes. Government crimes carrying 20-year times. 5 a.m. brought my fave part of the whole hard, Brenda's grab. State police caught her at the big road on way with suitcases and her laptop, clearly trying to run before news of the grabs broke. The small drive in her bag held spot values, get timelines, and talks with the fire setters. Extra charges, run to avoid court, plot to do trick, and my personal fave, cross-state move of stolen stuff, since her laptop held group money records she'd claimed were taken in the fake break-in. 6 a.m., Jake's tale went live with the head group. Boss grabbed in fire plot. By noon, big news spots had all asked for talks. Online blew up with group fire plot trending nationwide. Marcus's tale was shared 50,000 times in the first hour, with comments pouring in from victims of like bug pushes. The leader fall was quick and good. Councilwoman Webb gave her quit at 10 a.m. with words about personal reasons. The government said a wider check into town bad by lunch. The mayor called an emergency news talk to say full review of all group-tied town ways and zero stand for misuse of town power. And the left group board folks held their own emergency. Meet, all yes, voting to break the getaway and ban all spot-targeting doings. Their public sorry took out a full paper page ad knowing wrong and promising $25,000 in payback to our family. Government court folks said big crime charges were waiting against the whole net organized crime work running across state lines to trick spot owners. Stuff grab orders froze, all spots got through fake plans with funds going into a victim payback account. Carmen's home suit was shaping up to over $500,000 in hurts, while Brenda faced losing her house sale OKs in 3 states. But the most good moment came when other folks started coming forward with their own bug tales. 6 families had been targeted over 2 years using same ways. The way was finally broken. The pro hunter had become the prey. Elena found me that evening sitting on our back porch and watching the sunset paint our saved veggie garden in golden light. "How does it feel?" she asked. "Like fair," I said, raising my coffee cup in a cheer to the guard cameras that had caught everything. Slow. Step, law, bullet, safe, fair. The courthouse steps had never seen a crowd like this. 200 backers, news teams from 4 cities, and enough tellers to staff a small paper. The morning air buzzed with camera clicks like electronic bugs, and talk tools thrust forward like weapons seeking truth. Elena, Dakota, River, and I walked up those steps with the calm shore of folks who'd done everything by the book. The twins had insisted on coming, wanting to see fair happen in real life, as River put it. Inside the courthouse, Judge Patricia Morrison read the charges against Brenda with the weight they deserved. 17 big crime counts, including plot, fire, wire trick, and cross-state crime work. 8 small crime counts for filing false reports and bug. Brenda's look shocked everyone who'd known her as the polished group boss. Orange jumpsuit, handcuffs, and the beat pose of someone whose carefully built world had fallen overnight. The shiny light hair looked unwashed, and her famous calm had cracked like cheap paint. Government court fighter David Morgan laid out the case with court care. The bad set a step push of bug, trick, and tri-wreck of spots spanning many states and involving millions of dollars in fake moves. Hold was set at $250,000, showing both run risk and the heart of charges. Brenda's family sat in stunned quiet as the lady who scared our area was led away in chains. The news talk after felt like clear with a talk tool. We stood on the courthouse grass with our burned spots seen in the back, a perfect sight reminder of how far this plot had gone. Jake had matched with nationwide news, turning our local tale into a sign of group abuse nationwide. "This was never about groups versus spot rights," I said, looking straight into the big news camera. "This was about bad using community groups as cover for theft. Good neighbors don't threaten each other, they help each other." The first teller's question hit exactly the feeling note I'd expected. "Mr. Thorne, how does it feel to see your bother in cuffs?" "Honestly, I feel sad that it came to this," I replied, meaning every word. "Elena and I just wanted to live calm and raise our kids. We never asked for this fight." Elena stepped up to the talk tool forest with the natural power of someone who'd spent decades managing teens. The message this sends to other group fights is simple. Note everything. Know your rights. And remember, bullies count on you being too scared or too tired to fight back. The community back was huge. Neighbors held signs reading, "We stand with Marcus and spot rights equals American rights." Dakota and River's school pals had come with their parents, turning the courthouse grass into something like a hometown parade. In a moment that perfect caught the silly of the whole situation, our neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, brought 2 saved chickens as swaps for our poisoned bunch. The gentle clucks mixed with kids' giggles and warm afternoon sun, making the kind of good scene Brenda had claimed to be guarding. Carmen gave the law win speech that made law students across the country cheer. Government court folks said that check had showed a multi-state trick net targeting homeowners in at least 7 cities. "Big crime charges are waiting against the whole crime work," she said. "With seen good. All spots got through fake plans are subject to government stuff grab, with goes going into a victim payback fund. But the moment that made highlight shows nationwide came when a teller asked the question I'd been waiting for. "Mr. Thorne, do you have any advice for group boards watching this case?" I paused, looked straight into the camera, and smiled the smile of someone who'd spent 25 years learning the rules inside and out. "Yes, read the town rules before you try to break them. And remember, some of us wrote those rules. The follow-up question gave me the perfect setup. Any other advice for boards dealing with no-fit spots? The law isn't hard, I said. Respect your neighbor's rights, follow right steps, and focus on real community better instead of personal money. It's that simple. Jake's live show that evening showed our family in what he called the most American talk of the year. Elena's message hit with parents nationwide. Our kids learned that standing up for what's right isn't easy, but it's always worth doing. The meaning moment came when we returned to our spot that evening. I planted a new strong tree where our house had once stood for strong and long life. I explained to the cameras still following our tale. Community members brought dirt from their own gardens, turning the tree planting into a makeup event. Dakota and River helped water the small tree, while neighbors who'd been scared to speak up finally found their voices. The rich ground smell, mixed with cool water soaking into dirt, and a gentle wind rustled through leaves that would grow tall long after this tale ended. Nationwide news picked up our tale as a sign of ordinary Americans refusing to be picked on. Big News ran the group fire plot, one man's fight for spot rights. Other news showed when neighbors become bad. Another made the rule checker who checked. Fair. Online blew up with our tale shared over 500,000 times, starting a spot rights move that would shape laws in 12 states. Judge Morrison's time words became law example. This case stands for clear misuse of community power for personal get. Brenda got 8 years government jail and $2.3 million in payback. Webb got 4 years state jail and lifetime ban from public. Spot. That evening, we cheered not in mean win, but in quiet good that fair still worked in America. The win cheer in Community Park drew 150 folks, including former Brenda backers who'd finally seen the truth. We're not cheering someone's fall, I told the crowd. We're cheering the fact that fair still works when good folks use the law right. 6 months later, the sound of hammers bouncing across our spot had replaced the bad quiet of that awful week. Our new home rose from the ashes, literally putting the best of our old craft design with modern ups that would make any rule checker proud. Cover deals totaled $425,000, $340 for the building, $85 for inside and feeling hurt. Sun panels shined on the roof. An advanced guard system guarded every corner, and my bigger workshop buzzed with projects again. The smell of fresh wood mixed. With morning coffee as Elena and I planned our future from the same around porch rebuilt exactly where it belonged. The community change was even more good than our personal get-back. Group members had voted all yes to break their group fully, swapping it with a choose neighbor, join focused on social events, and real better instead of control and scare. Elena was picked as casual runner. They called her area pal instead of boss. And 23 of 28 families actively joined in doings that really brought folks together. Block parties swapped board meets. Garden tours swapped break checks. The difference was night and day. My job no turned into chances I'd never thought. Up to area boss of rule check learning came with talking spots at town meets across 3 states. My training program, Good Check and Community Ties, was taken by 47 cities seeking to stop the kind of bad we'd showed. Elena started the Dakota and River Learning Group using a part of our law deal plus community gifts. The School Help Fund backed students who showed town brave kids ready to stand up for what's right, even when it wasn't liked. Our first 3 getters were planning jobs in law, news telling, and public help. The law story went far beyond our area. Thorne versus Kensington was named in 23 later spot rights cases across the country. Government laws called the homeowner. Guard Act included our case as a main example in leader talks. 3 states passed stronger punishments for group bug with must-tell needs based on our proof. Jake's award pick for the series On Town Bad brought nationwide eyes to issues most folks never knew were. Big Stream made the group plot show with Elena and me as helpers, reaching millions of watchers who'd never heard of spot rights misuse. Elena wrote Standing Ground, A Family's Fight for Home Wrong, which became needed reading in several law school spot rights classes. Our talking round grew nationwide, sharing our tale at meets where we met lots of families fighting like battles. The yearly Good Neighbor Day Fest in our community park became an area pull. This year's cheer drew over 200 folks from nearby builds, all gathering around the strong tree, now 3 feet tall, that served as our center for makeup events. Dakota chose news-telling as her job path like Mr. Jake, while River set his sights on nature law to guard folks' right to have chickens. Elena's pick to the school board made chances to push for town learning classes that would teach kids about their rights before they needed to fight for them. Most key, our example started nationwide, talk about the balance between community rules and spot rights. 47 states brought group change laws, naming our case. Leader hearings on group misuse included Elena's talk about the human cost of unchecked power. The Spot Way became a model studied by town planning programs, proof that areas could keep rules through team rather than force. Our chickens returned too naturally. Old breed birds named Justice, Liberty, Freedom, and Hope gave fresh eggs and endless fun for visiting grandkids. Their happy clucks mixed with kids' giggles and morning sun, warming the new house Elena had designed with art touch. But the most good moment came last week when my phone rang with a familiar ask. "Mr. Thorne, my name is Sarah. I'm in Hotbird Town, and my group is trying to force me to remove my veggie garden. I found your tale online. Can you help?" Elena laughed when I started packing the car. "Here we go again." "Road trip to Dry Spot," I confirmed, loading my trusty town rule books and proof collect kit because clearly we're in the spot rights business now. The fight for home and fair never really ends. It just moves to the next area that needs help, and Elena and I wouldn't have it any other way. Have you or someone you know faced group bug? Share your tale in the comments below. Your past might help someone else know they're not alone. If this tale fired you to stand up for your rights, hit that subscribe button. Every week, we share real tales of ordinary folks who refuse to be picked on and won. Because sometimes little guy really does beat big. You've been watching Group Tales where pushy folks get a real check. If this part gave you second mad or good, hit that like, leave your take in the comments, and subscribe so you're the first in line for more weekly Group Mess.